Welcome back to the channel, and thanks ever so much for all of the support that you've been giving me over this past week. It's the big project that I'm on at the moment, making 2 cupboards for the kitchen, and so at the moment we're in the middle of gluing up all of the panels. So I just want to catch up with some of you, and I'm so grateful for the comments that you've left me. I hadn't realised when I made the comment about gluing up with biscuits how much of a debate there is, the varying opinions on do I put glue in the slot or just on the edge. Now I've been in the habit of just putting it on the edge, leaving the glue, the biscuits free of glue. But John said no, glue the biscuits because it gives a tighter joint. So as I say, varying opinions, and is one right, one wrong? I have no idea. But John, I want to say thank you as well, because this is my workshop journey, and so sometimes it takes somebody to point out the blindingly obvious. Last time, you'll remember gluing up some of these, I was struggling to manoeuvre the clamps on the bench. Now, part of the problem, as John highlighted, is that I've got this stock here, so at the back of the bench, and it's limiting me, and he just said clear the bench, give him some room. And then John, you asked, do I mind him giving that comment? No John, I do not mind whatsoever. As I say, it sometimes takes somebody to point out the blindingly obvious, and I'm very grateful that you have. Now, on the subject of clamps, I've only got these extruded aluminium with cast aluminium heads, and I've only got 9 of those, and then I've got some of the quick release clamps as well. Not a lot, and with each board taking about an hour, it's going to take me quite some time to do. But you'll have remembered from last time as well that I was having problems with these, my little blocks of wood, and keeping them in place while I started the clamp process. Well, my neighbour Tim suggested if I've got steel clamp heads, then I could use these little blocks of wood and inset a neodymium magnet in here to latch on to the steel heads of the jaws. Good idea if I'd got steel heads. These are only cast aluminium. Or he said make some blocks to go over the clamp heads. Now that's a good idea, and it's one that I will be taking up. But just to help me out, Tim has lent me some of his clamps. Now these are the sort of clamps that I remember from school. Everything's steel with the pins to hold them in place, but he's fitted them with blocks of wood with the little magnets inset and with the slot so that it goes over and doesn't twist. Now that's helped me to see what I need to do, and thanks ever so much, Tim. I'm grateful for the way that you've given me those on loan. And finally, from 2 weeks ago, Chris mentioned my use of music when I went into the high speed mode for the film. Chris mentioned that use of music distracted, and why, when I get into the interesting bits, do I speed up the video? He commented on wanting to see the use of my sled at the same time. Just as it was getting interesting, I speeded everything up. So just for you, Chris, what I'm going to do, I'm going to carry on with the glue up process. Now you've seen that in process, so I'm not going to bore you with that, but in the meantime, just for you, Chris, I'm going to replay some of that I made for the use of the sled on the thicknesser, and no music, proper speed. See you later. So my first task is just to see how the loading of the sled is going to go. Now, as I said, the longest piece will be about a metre, so those want to go on first, and obviously the cut side wants to go on as opposed to the already planed side. And quite variable in width from the look of it. So see how this goes. One more piece. There we go. Those are quite well snugly fitted. That's good. Now the next thing I just want to check is what the varying heights are. Now that thinnest piece, or narrowest piece I should say, is 43. That's quite thin, but it's definitely tapered, because that bottom end is nearly 47. Now that's going to pose a few problems, isn't it? Because I'm aiming for about 50 mil. So that one in itself is going to cause problems. So let me take that one out. And just double check it. Yeah, about 42. And about 47. So I'm going to leave that one out of it, I think, at the moment. Although that in itself doesn't have a label on it. So put another one in there. That one will do. much better. Okay, so those differences in height, that's the narrowest one. At 47. So if I aim for 47 for everything, that's going to work. That will give me consistency. It's not quite what I wanted, but it will be consistent. Okay. So the next thing will be to make sure that the bed of the thicknesser is at the right height. Well, that went very well. Just 3 small passes. There was a little bit of movement on a couple of these lengthways, but there was no movement at all up and down, and I'm very pleased with that. That's given me a lovely finish on all of them. So yes, I'm pleased with the sled. I'm pleased I've got uniformity with these lengths. So the length now is, or the width I should say, is 46.6. That'll do. That's close enough to 50 without losing too much material, but more importantly giving me uniformity. So all I've got to do now is the rest of the stock. Now this is the second sled, and I thought I'd just see how many pieces of wood I could get in. Obviously limited by how wide it is, and I've got most of them in. There are just the 2, 4, 9 pieces left, and I'm struggling because of this gap. So I thought, can I squeeze a piece in? Well, certainly not this stock that I'm milling at the moment. So what I've done, on the trolley with all of my offcuts, there's a piece of beech that this is 48 wide, but it's just thin enough to go in and just hold everything in place. So I'll just make sure by making sure everything's flat. There we go. Right, so this is showing me limitations of the sled, how much I can expect of it, because you'll have noticed I took some wood out of it before I started this pass, because these here weren't being held securely. Some of these aren't, but they won't move that way. That was the important thing. Those could come out if I wasn't careful. That's why I took them out. But as I say, that's getting me the idea of what limitations I can have, but at least these are done. I've just got the few left now for a third session. Now I am really pleased with the way that this has gone. Ever so pleased. Now, actually might have to take it down just slightly more because that's just under 47. Sorry, just under 48, and I'm aiming for 46.5, aren't I? So, try again. That's fine, that's everything down to size. So that's the nominal 25 by 50 done to their finished size. Finished size is 19.5 by 45. That's fine, but they're all consistent. That's the main thing. Right, I've got two pieces at 100 that I just need to make sure what the final side is flush. Then I can start batch cutting the biscuits, and almost in real time, because I started the glue up on the first of the boards this afternoon. It's 35 minutes ago, so clumping them from last week for about an hour, and then I can start the rest. I only have 3 more boards to do, so I'm ever so pleased with the progress that I'm making. Hope you found the review of the Sled on the thicknesser useful, and maybe if you've got any suggestions on the way I can improve it, then please let me know in the comments. But anyway, I'm just waiting for the I've done 5 boards so far. That took me about 35 minutes to do, and as I say, just got the 3 more to go. In the meantime, what I was going to do was, I've got 1 more of my bar cramps left, and so I thought I'd just have a go at sorting out what I can do by way of putting a wooden insert over there, and I can quickly do that on the bandsaw, and then things won't drop out of place. Anyway, I'll see how that goes. Well, that went well. Piece of the scrap, and you'll have noticed from watching the workshop, I've got a lot of scrap softwood, so just marked very briefly what I need. So little slot goes over the net there nicely, and that won't twist. And what I've done is made it as high as the clamp, so that when it's upside down it won't move either. So that's the first one. I've got several more to make, so I'll see how it goes, because I've still got another 7 minutes to go before the hour's up for the clamping. There we are, 3 more, and pushing the bandsaw blade to its limit because it's far too wide for tight curves, but it did the job, and with it being a nicely tensioned blade I could go from side to side to smooth this bottom edge off. So that's got those 4 blocks done now, and that's taken me just over the hour, so I can start releasing these boards that I've got gluing up, and I can start gluing the other 3 up. So that's as far as I'm going today. I've got the last 3 boards gluing up, and there's about 20 minutes to go before I can release the clamps. So I'm just packing up now, and I want to say thank you for coming along with me. It's been a very successful afternoon because I've managed to get a good half of the panels glued up, and I'm very grateful for Tim and the clamps that he lent me, because that means I've been able to get them all done. So next time I'll leave the finishing of the boards because they will need sanding, but I'm going to leave that for a wee while, because what I want to do is start the preparation of the stiles and rails for the cupboards and the doors themselves. Now that will mean setting up the router again for cutting the mortise and tenon joints, and that's going to be a massive project in itself. So I'm just trying to map out what I need to be doing, and yeah, I think next time it will start the cutting of those mortise and tenons. So thinking about it, the mortises first. I can adjust the width of the tenons, but I can't adjust the width of the mortises. So those are the ones that I need to cut first in all of the uprights for the cupboards themselves. So yeah, that's the plan next time. Get the mortiser out. So as I say, thanks for coming along with me, and I look forward to seeing your comments and enjoying the feedback that you give to me, and I'll see you next time.